All right, guys. January 19th, we have the NFC and AFC Conference Championships, guys. Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos versus Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. That's going to be ridiculous. Then we have Seattle Seahawks and the 49ers going at it, guys. Two young quarterbacks, two young mobile quarterbacks. Let's start in Frisco or in Seattle, but let's start with that Frisco versus Seattle game. And who do I think's gonna win? It's gonna be a real tough one. Percy Harvin is out, but Percy Harvin has been out throughout the season, guys, and they still clinch home field advantage throughout the playoffs. We're the number one team in the NFC all year. Number one rated defense. The secondary is ridiculous. What a lot of guys don't know is that the defensive line is ridiculous, and the linebackers are ridiculous at certain things, guys. Very fast linebackers who can cover on this team. Missing a little bit of block shedding, but other than that, they are ridiculous. But with the defensive line that they have, you can get away with having linebackers who are not the best of block shedders, guys. We talk about that stuff here at MaddenEdge.com. By the way, if you want to take your Madden game to the next level, guys, go ahead, visit the site. We have guys in the top 100. Everybody's up there on all systems, guys. We're really dominating this year, so go ahead and check out MaddenEdge.com. But anyway, so back to the Seattle strengths. Defensive line is ridiculous. I mean, we're talking about they can kind of run two different types of defensive lines at you. These Seahawks guys, they have run stopping guys, and then if they happen to get you into a third and long, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 or more, then they can sick Clemens and all these other guys, Averill and all these pass rushers at you, and that's when it becomes ridiculous because no one's going to be open. So you're best if you can stay at 3rd and short, because you do not want to get into a 3rd and long versus this defense at all. I'm going to have to say, guys, that the running backs and the offensive line is pretty much a wash. Defensive line, I really think that Seattle overall has the edge over the 49ers. The linebackers is definitely going to be the San Francisco 49ers have an edge, guys, because they have guys who can block shed, but almost all of those guys can zone cover and man cover pretty well. Bowman is the exception there. I mean, not Bowman. Brooks is the exception in regards to being able to cover very well, but he's a block shedding beast. He can definitely stop the run, and he can cover okay. And he can certainly get after the passer if you're not paying attention to him. And then, of course, we have Willis and Bowman, who those guys can do everything. They can stop the run, they can zone cover, they can blitz. So that's just ridiculous. So the edge in the backing core definitely goes to the Niners there, guys. So then we have quarterbacks. Who has the edge? Well, Russell Wilson is the higher rated passer. I'm not talking about that Troy Aikman total QBR stuff. I'm talking about the good old fashioned throwing the ball. QB rating. Russell Wilson is rated higher. Russell has less interceptions. And the thing that I've been noticing about Kaepernick, guys, is that, okay, they're going to call him clutch, and it's kind of tough for me to be biased about this thing or unbiased about this thing because I'm a Raiders fan, and I just don't like the 49ers, all right? But as you heard earlier, I did give them credit where credit is due. But he just seems to panic a lot for me. He's always wasting timeouts, and watched a lot of games this year, and he will throw the ball to the other team. Now, there's been times when picks have been called back due to penalties or guys have dropped picks, but he makes mistakes, all right? And when he starts making mistakes, then he holds on to the balls. So the thing is, you got to get Colin Kaepernick early. You know, you have to confuse him early, and then he's kind of shook. But the thing that I have noticed about him is that even if he does throw a pick, if you don't stay on him, all right, and if your team doesn't get a lead, his confidence will get right back as soon as he makes a big play with his legs, or if somebody catches a pass for him, then all of a sudden he's right back, and he's right back to throwing down the field with that big arm. And of course, you don't want to let him take off and run on you. So it's tough, but I'm going to give the edge to Russell Wilson because he never panics. He can also run. So there you have it. Who's going to win? Well, KJ Wright is back for Seattle, and that's huge because in the second game that these guys played, midway through the season, guys, Frank Gore broke that run. And he wasn't getting anything all game until when? Until KJ Wright got hurt. Then all of a sudden, there's a hole there. KJ Wright would have filled that. And KJ Wright is actually one of the best block shedding backers that the Seahawks have on that team, guys. So it's not going to, well, I mean, it wasn't easy for Gore to run in, but he eventually broke that long run late, which kind of iced the game. I don't think they're going to give that up this game. That being said, the Niners have everybody back now. Crabtree's back. Who else is back? They were missing some guys in the secondary who's back. Manningham's back, I believe. So, I mean, the Niners are at full strength. The Seahawks are missing. Pretty much the only guy they're missing is Harvin. So who's going to win this game? The second one was tough. It was decided by that. You know what, guys? I just think early on, Kaepernick is going to have a turnover or two, and he might have one late. I think he's going to finish with at least 2 turnovers, maybe 2 picks, maybe a sack, fumble, and a pick. But something's going to happen to where he's going to make a mistake. And Russell Wilson just doesn't make those types of mistakes. He doesn't waste timeouts. Colin Kaepernick will waste timeouts early in the half, and I think that's still going to happen because, I mean, we're talking about the best defense in the league. I'm going to take the Seahawks guys by 3. That one's going to be tough. So then we have Manning versus Brady. What's going on there? Well, the Patriots are missing Will Fork and O.J. Mayo. Not O.J. Mayo. Gerard Mayo. What am I talking about? I'm thinking about hoops. It's almost about to be hoop season. All right. Whatever Mayo. I don't know his first name. But he's a stud, and he's a stud on Madden. And anybody who's played him or played with him, we know he's always 95 ranked or something like that, linebacker. Anyway, he can do everything, and he's gone. And so is Big Vince Wilfork. Patriots do have a nice secondary, though, guys. And, of course, you know, Bill Belichick always seems to make everything work. I mean, we got Ninkovich and everybody else there. You have to lead back there in the secondary. There's just a bunch of studs. They have that young guy who can zone cover. He's a rookie, and he can get after the QB. A lot of pieces there. I mean, they are pretty stout on defense, even missing Wilfork and Mayo. If they were there, I would pick the Patriots kind of outright, guys. But they're not. On the flip side, everybody is back and healthy for Denver, guys. Von Miller, I think that in the first game that these guys played, I don't know, maybe it was week 10, week 11, Miller had that fumble recovery for a TD, and I'm pretty sure that was his first game back. He's finally getting his legs under him. He's going to be after Brady, but of course they're going to be trying to run. Well, it's different trying to run on Denver, guys, than it is trying to run against the Chargers. The Chargers are pretty good versus the run, but Denver has a bunch of block shedding linebackers and defensive linemen, guys. So it is not going to be the same. Although LeGarrette Blount has said, hey, feature me and I'll show you a miniature Bo Jackson. He's all right. He's nothing like a Bo Jackson. Don't get me wrong. Bo's my favorite back of all time, but he has a nice stride. Sometimes these big guys have these stiff strides. LeGarrette Blount is pretty agile out there in the open field, guys. Good enough speed to break a long one, as we saw that last week. But I just like his stride. Compare LeGarrette Blount to Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker is kind of stiff. Bo Jackson and LeGarrette Blount just have nice, smooth, fluid, agile strides, even for big guys. But of course, Bo Jackson will put a 4.1 on you, and LeGarrette Blount is probably at about a 4.5. But still a very good runner. And the thing about the Patriots is they have a committee of running backs there, guys. So they can just keep pounding you just as long as those offensive linemen don't get tired. They've been doing that for the last 4 or 5 weeks, so they're used to it. So they are going to try and run you into the dirt. One thing's for certain, though, they're in the Mile High City, so it's going to be a little tougher to try and run that ball like that all game and keep your breath for those big offensive linemen. So it's interesting to see about that. Can you believe that Tom Brady has been relegated to a game manager? Now, don't get me wrong, it's kind of crazy because once you start selling out on the run, then, Tom Brady's definitely going to hit that open guy. So safeties back there are going to have to really, really be disciplined, guys. Wow. But what else is Tom Brady and these guys going to do? Their threats in the middle of the field this year would have been Hernandez and Gronk, and then it would have been absolutely ridiculous because then you would have had to choose stop these tight ends who are going out for routes or stop the run. And those tight ends were going to get open, but that didn't happen, right? So now they are a running team, and they try and take advantage of guys overplaying the run. Edelman is a nice receiver to go to, and you have a couple other decent guys out there. But for the most part, guys, those guys can get beat up by the Denver secondary. So it's going to be a low-scoring game. Let's talk about what Denver has. All right, so we have Peyton Manning having the greatest season of all time for a quarterback, guys. The defense is solid. And then Peyton has weapons to burn out there. And by the way, Noshawn went for over 200 versus New England last time. So that lets you know what it is to have a guy like Will Fork out of the game and a guy like Mayo out of the game down there in that front seven. So Peyton took what they gave him, and Noshawn had a career day. Peyton had 2 TDs, 1 pick that kind of wasn't his fault if you saw the game. And that game actually went into overtime. So I'm not going to say Brady won it or Peyton lost it. It was just an absolute ridiculous game, and somebody had to lose, and it came down to special teams. So Peyton has a Pro Bowl wide receiver in Thomas, a Pro Bowl tight end in the other Thomas, and Welker and Decker could have also been considered for the Pro Bowls, guys. Peyton has more weapons. I don't think that their defense is better than the Patriots, but I think for what the Patriots want to do, which is run the ball, I think Denver can stop the Patriots from running, and they showed that last time. But then, of course, guess what? Brady throws for 300. He does not make one mistake. He has 3 TDs. So it just is absolutely ridiculous. Wow. Is Brady going to try and throw for 300, guys? Or are they going to try and run the rock? Either way it goes, I think I got Denver by 3, guys. Just because I just think if